The goal of being in a discipleship relationship, as we've defined it in Focus, is to work yourself out of a job. The purpose of being an older brother or sister in Christ is to help others mature in the Christian life such that they're not dependent. They're less dependent on you or anyone else, and increasingly dependent on Christ and His church. We actually want people to mature. We don't want to tell them how to run their lives. We don't want them to always be asking us our advice, even if that's flattering to us. We don't want to be giving them instructions about what to do. We don't want them to need us, which is a temptation. Some of us love to be needed. It can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. What we're saying is, if we have a healthy relationship in Christ, you will mature in Christ to the point where we become peers and friends in Christ, which is very different than older brother and sister in Christ, or one who's always giving advice. And so our goal is to move people towards less dependence on us, more dependence on Christ and His church. We want mature men and women. That applies to us as well. By the way, I think it's a temptation, and I said this in the last Focus talk, forgive me, last year if you remember this. There is a temptation, I believe, in this generation, and I was part of it, for us to want to abdicate responsibility for hard decisions in our life. Ted was talking about this a bit when he was talking about vocational discernment this morning. We want to hand off the hard decisions because we don't know if we're making them well. We're afraid of how they may turn out. We've made some bad decisions in the past. So we'd really like to just say to God, God, I want to appear in front of me the whole course of my life, and I, like a robot, just obey it and march along. It's not how the Lord made you or the people that you are leading. He made them to work with Him, to write history with Him, to make decisions with Him for their own lives, to own your decisions. So what we want to do is own our own decisions in Christ. Hey, take good counsel. Speak to every wise man. Good idea. But then make your decision and own it. And we want to help others do that. But when people are young in Christ, at first, it's easy, make sure you get up in the morning and pray. Make sure this and everything's going wonderful. I read my Bible today. It was wonderful. And they're all excited. But we want to bring them to the place where they're moving on their own. And so we want to make them less dependent on us, more dependent on Christ and the church. We want to get out of the way. We are not telling them what to do. We are bringing them to encounter Christ and His church such that they can make their decisions well with Christ's mind.